and like give your inputs with humility, because know that you don't know shit. You are just
Yeah.
you're just a proxy for an audience, nothing else.
Huh.
Feel grateful that your inputs are being heard,
Yeah.
but give it with a lot of humility, I would say.
It's still like an opinion, right? You are being paid to have an opinion about something,
Yeah.
but you still need to understand that, this is something that is going to work for this audience set, or this is what this needs. And you may be able to give an opinion with humility, but your job is still to have an opinion
Mhm.
and to take ownership of that opinion.
Hey, you, welcome to another episode of Real Talk. Yahan pe I don't just interview musicians and artists, but also those people who are helping shape our music industry in a big way. And for that reason, today's episode is extra special because my guests are two of my most favorite humans in the music industry. Now, I first got acquainted with them several years ago when they had reached out to me and hit me up for their artist campaigns. Like, fast forward to now, I'm very lucky to call them friends. And with them, it was just, you get that instant good vibe from some people. That was that with them. So, yeah, they've absolutely crushed it in their careers. They worked on some massive campaigns and they're really out here shaping what the music industry looks like for the next generation. So, let me tell you a little about them. My first guest today is Anmol Singh Dhand, who did something really brave. He left a job in investment banking and started fresh as an intern with Gully Gang. From there, his crazy good ear and instinct for hits led him to A&R, one of the biggest tracks to come out in recent times, which was Obsessed by Riyar Saab and Abhijay Sharma. Massive pop culture moment that was. And since then, he's gone on to co-found his own music marketing agency and label, Mashooriya. He's also the marketing head at Gully Gang and has been behind some massive hits like Yeda Young, Scenario, Desi Hood, Dua, Bombay Dreams, and many more. And here's the thing, with Mashooriya Originals, they've been dropping tracks that keep climbing the virality charts, like the recent number one viral hit Kehne Lagaa, which came out of nowhere, and other tracks like Kahi Tari Bol, Chai Party, and Khamma Ghani. It's a brand new label, and all their drops have gone viral. So at this point, it's safe to say if Mashooriya is behind it, it's probably going viral, like for sure. So I'm super stoked to have him on the podcast today. My second guest is Aniket Rajgarhia, who did what most people just talk about doing. He left his tech consultant job in London, packed his bags, and moved to India with one clear goal: to work in music. Now, that kind of passion and focus paid off big time. He landed a senior role at Outdustry India, where he's worked on huge campaigns and rollouts for artists like Says on the Beat, The Movement, Lost Stories, Major Lazer, Dua Lipa, Charlie XCX, Love, Jungle, and a whole lot more. And when Outdustry got acquired by the Virgin Music Group, Aniket decided to bring his tech and music worlds together. He co-founded Music Tech India, which is an association that's all about bridging the gap between the traditional music industry and the startup world and helping build India's music tech ecosystem. So I'm super excited to have him on the podcast today as well and discuss everything that he's been up to. So this is the first for an episode of Real Talk where I'm having this roundtable style chat with the both of them. The idea, as always, is to try and pull back the curtain on the music industry for you. So if you're an up and coming emerging artist, then I want you to walk away with some practical tips that you can maybe use in your own career. And if you're someone who dreams of working in the music industry tomorrow and dreams of becoming the next big A&R or music marketing executive, then you will learn how hits are developed and marketed. And if you're a techie who's looking for that next big startup idea, maybe this sparks something that will help shape how music tech in India evolves in the future. So with that said, and yeah, of course, if you're a music fan like me, then I always say this, that the better you understand how the music industry works and what your favorite artists have to deal with, the more you'll be able to support them in the right way and the more nuanced your conversations around their music will be. So with all that said, let's dive straight into episode 17 of Real Talk with Anmol and Aniket. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Real Talk. Today I have two guests, two of my favorite people in this music industry, in the big bad world of music. And thank you guys. Welcome Anmol and Aniket. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Jyoti, for having us.
Thank you.
So now between the two of you, there is so many verticals and like a wealth of experience across A&R, marketing, management, distribution, publishing, music tech. There's a lot that we can cover in this episode, but there are some topics that are very personal, my personal favorite topics, and we're going to go to those. What I wanted to achieve, the intent behind this sort of the first of its kind that I'm doing, at least on Real Talk, this roundtable style chat, is to kind of dive deep into your individual areas of experience and expertise and try and unpack some of the nuances of the industry, the workings of the industry today, because you guys are doing everything in real time right now. And hopefully we learn a lot along the way. And audiences, which I think makes up a lot of emerging artists who watch the channel, a lot of future music industry executives, and of course, music fans, hopefully they can walk away with some sort of practical takeaways and better understand what this world is about. You know?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I just realized we watched so many of these videos. I just realized we're in one right now. So
Yeah.
that's very cool.
Feels good. Huh? And you know what I
Yeah.
realized when I was coming up with the topics? I was like, all three of us have a very similar background. We all changed industries and
Yeah.
came here for our love of music.
Yeah,
है ना? Both of you were in consulting before, है ना?
I was in
correct.
investment banking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
investment
similar.
banking.
Yeah.
God. So yes, here for the music, and let's begin with my favorite area, which is A&Ring. And it's a very, very mysterious area for a lot of people. People don't understand what A&Ring is about and what makes a good A&R, etc. So Anmol, I want to start with you. You've had a great start in the industry with Gully Gang and A&R'd so many hit songs for them. You're now doing that with your own agency, Mashooriya. And my God, you are literally like the virality king, I have to say. Kitne viral gaane doge bhai? Like, relax. So if I remember, Obsessed is where I first sort of, got completely clued into how you were running things. But Obsessed, Yeda Young, you've had Scenario, you've had now that breakthrough hit Kehne Lagaa.
Yeah.
And you're wearing the A&R and marketing hat every hour of every day. So tell me, in today's day and age where so much is led by data and numbers, so much of the decision making, how are you still trusting your gut when you're A&Ring? Because I know you do.
So data and numbers is what I've observed is that data and numbers will give you. Suppose you have a label and you've signed an artist and you wanna sign an artist. That's a time where you look at maybe an artist who's doing a certain amount of streams and you bring them on so that there's at least a base to build up from. What I realized is that the delta is much smaller, right? To be able to talking about purely revenue, uh, maybe giving a deal to an artist who's already doing certain numbers and then working from there and maybe taking him or her to the next level. The delta is pretty small, right? Because
Yeah.
you will have to pay a significant amount to an artist who's already doing well. As an A&R, what I try to look at is are artists that are making great music, but maybe they're lacking in branding, maybe they've not spent enough time on marketing, or maybe the art that they have created is not presented to the audience in a palatable way. So stuff like that, and that is where a lot of the delta lies also, right? So if I'm a label, it's like venture capital, right? If I am a label who's investing in an artist who has 100 monthly listeners, I would be able to acquire rights or partner up with that artist at a much lower cost and get higher returns for my label, and also provide higher returns to the artist because that is the artist who needs me the most.
Yeah.
And once I come in, maybe with marketing, maybe with some A&R tweaks, maybe with positioning, I help the artist get to the next level, and then the pie gets bigger and everybody eats. And from a business point of view, whether it's me working for a label at Gully Gang or my own label, the delta is much higher. If I'm putting 100 rupees, I have a chance to make a lakh. Whereas if I go to an established artist, I might have to put down 50,000 rupees to be able to make a lakh. And if you really trust in your skill set, and obviously there's place for like bigger artists and labels, and you can take an artist from 0 to 1 and then 1 to 100 and maybe beyond that as well. But what maybe that's what's my track record also has been is that picking an artist who are, without any disrespect to them, but numbers wise they are at 0, and taking them to 1 and maybe trying to take them to 100 as well. So that's where I can make the most amount of money. So, and also that's where I can contribute to the most to an artist who does not have an audience, and take their music to an audience. So it's like I am a pre-seed or a seed round versus being a series C or series D.
Okay, this is kind of challenging the notion where a lot of labels today, especially the majors, say that we need an artist to go from 0 to 2 or 3 on their own, and then we'll look at them and then we'll pick them up and try and take them to 8 because very few get to a 10 in their lifetime.
It makes sense for majors because they have access to a lot more capital. Most of my work on the A&R side has been with an independent label in Gully Gang or my own label, which is again not affiliated to any major. So with lesser capital to play around with, I would say if you really back yourself as an A&R and as a marketing exec, it's just logically better that you'll be able to make
Yeah.
more money from with an artist who's at an earlier stage versus someone who's already, and there's space for everyone. Like a Universal or a Sony will put money on someone who's at zero as well, and they
Yeah.
will put money who's at a two or a three or a four as well, and put money on someone who's at 100. Like a Drake also has a major label deal, but if you look at Universal's, maybe some of their, they had this record label called Found Out. I don't know if it still works, but it was an
I think
imprint that,
it's off. Huh.
yeah, but it was an imprint that was working with early artists. Even at Def Jam, there are artists who are not maybe the biggest out there, but they are taking early bets, right?
Okay.
So
I don't know if they're taking zero wale bets. And my question was, are you taking a risk in that? You're taking artists from zero onwards mostly, and then there's a risk of them leaving
I,
you.
I just like to back myself at that, and it's also a situation thing, right? My company is early. We're only a year and a half old, and we are bootstrapped. There is no external capital in it. So whatever money we make off of our services, which is marketing and A&R consultancy for others, that is the money that is being put into artists. And
Right.
I personally would love to be a part of an artist's journey from day zero, where they had a small audience or maybe no audience, and then take them to a large audience. I would want to, and eventually, like, i might be I might be saying that right now, maybe 5-10 years down the line, when we have access to larger capital, I may also take bets um, on artists who are at like a 50%, 60%. But then again, this is, look at it as a venture fund. Like a smaller fund does pre-seed and seed rounds, a larger fund will do a series A, series B, series C, right? So I am still a seed pre-seed fund, so I would want to take those bets.
Okay, interesting. Aniket, you and I were discussing this offline that being an A&R, I'm not I'm not an A&R because I'm not a musician. A lot of people think that. And I don't necessarily believe that's true. Anmol, I would love to know from you. You're not a musician, है ना? So when you are in a studio getting those tracks A&R, what is your input? And how are you approaching it when you're taking creative decisions or contributing your opinion?
Again, it's mostly gut based, and I'm so like unskilled when it comes to actual music terms and music theory and whatever, that
Yeah.
I'm not even able to name the instrument that I'm talking about. Maybe I want like a certain percussion or a certain melody to go higher, but I don't know कि guitar बज रहा है या क्या बज रहा है. मेरे पास उतनी भी knowledge नहीं है. But it's usually like I would like just talk to the producer or the artist and give my suggestions. I never have hard and fast opinions.
Yeah.
And most of the artists that I've, like, I would say there are two kinds of A&Ring, right? There is one where I go out into the market and acquire a released or a made song. And
Yeah.
sometimes I develop songs with artists. So a couple of songs that I developed with artists were Obsessed and Scenario. And on that, my contribution on Obsessed was initially to get the two artists in the studio
Yeah.
together. Because they did not really know each other before, I connected them. Abhijay is someone I've been working with, I know for a while, and Riyar Saab, formerly Frenzy, was someone who was assigned to me at the label.
Right.
Getting them in the studio was my step one at A&Ring. And then when the song came in, it had a certain structure. In the second session, they changed the structure a little bit. So I just said that the first structure was kind of better. So that was something that I added to the conversation, and it not necessary that it makes it to the final product,
Yeah.
but my contribution has to be enough that uh, like it should be crucial enough that without me the song does not exist, or maybe it does not exist in the form that it exists right now. In
Okay.
this specific song, I was the one who connected the dots between those two. With Scenario, it was something like Mala Wala had sent like a bunch of demos to Samohit for a collab, and I just heard that back. Like I heard a bunch of hooks, and I really liked Scenario, the hook that came in from Mala Wala on Scenario. I asked, like I pushed Samohit a little bit, ki bhai, this sounds like a banger, you should hop on it. He listened to me, like he trusted my gut with that, and he hopped on a verse, and then the first this output came out, and then so stuff like that. So again, Samohit and Malawala knew each other, but I was the one who
Put them
found that
together. Yeah.
this hook has potential, तो इस पे करना चाहिए. तो ऐसे करके, and then mix master वाले stage पे there was some inputs, and the song was getting Adil as an additional producer on the song was another decision that I think it was a collective thing, but like again, I was involved in that whole conversation. Getting the right engineer for the right sounds, we got Akash for that particular song. So like stuff like that is there. And then in some cases it's like just picking a song. So I knew Rushil and I really liked his music. I knew his
Yeah.
manager Ishan as well. So I was just going through his catalog. I found a song that was released back in September. I really liked it, so I was like, bhai, is pe kuch karte hain. It's not getting its due, we'll get it, we'll try to make it big. So
Nice.
that was like more like recognizing a sound. Even with Desi Hood, it was like कि Krish Rao की एक reel मेरे feed पे आ गई थी, and I was like कि काफी सही है, and Haryanvi hip hop is like growing, and I also understand the language a little bit. I really liked his whole persona, his vibe, and I really liked the reel. I just sent that reel to Hamara like internal groups, Gully Gang pe, and I was like, we should definitely work with this guy, and this song is something that we should try and acquire. And I did not have any creative inputs in Desi Hood. It was
that was ready. Yeah. Okay.
It was a created song, released song. Same with Kehne Lagaa, but it was just a recognition कि भाई ये गाने को उसका ड्यू नहीं मिल रहा है, enough audience तक वो नहीं पहुंच रहा है. And वहाँ पे like there is like an amalgamation of A&R and marketing where you recognize an art and then you also figure that there is a target audience for it, and then you bridge the gap between taking it to the target audience where it's naturally not going. So stuff like that.
Okay. So it's overall also having a good ear. It's kind of like curating music, because in radio, I knew when I heard something, I was like, okay, my audience is going to love it. And a lot of times I would get pulled up saying, why did you play this song, or why is it playing on our station by my management? I'm like, you are not my target audience. I am my target audience. Like, I know that when I like a song, my audience will like it. That is a kind of confidence you need to have as someone who's curating. And so you're also part curator as someone who acquires the songs that can be marketed and scaled. And you're also giving your inputs where you are playing a connector sort of, between artists and things like that. So the Obsessed story was a case study on my thesis. I think you bringing them together, and then that song having that Vicky Kaushal journey. It was
a
insane pop culture moment.
Yeah. Still like the biggest song I've worked on. My first hit, and it's still the biggest song that I've ever worked on. So
ऐसा beginner's luck सबके साथ हो होना चाहिए.
Like from an A&R lens, I think it was my there was actual skill involved from my end. Obviously the artists and the engineers, but also my A&R skill set. But marketing तो pure हमारा लग चल गया था कि भाई.
I mean ऐसे moments बहुत कम होते हैं life में.
Yeah. But then again, like the song had to be good enough. The marketing had to be good enough to at least reach Vicky Kaushal for him to make a reel and do like go there.
I remember before the release, you had shared it with me and asked me, what do you think? I love the hook. I told you then. I was like, the hook is really...
I was very invested in that song because it was the first one that actually I had a part in creation, right?
Yeah.
I had just joined the industry. Maybe it was 6-7 months down the line where this song was.
But let me tell you, your enthusiasm has gotten you till here. Like that joy that I sense from you every time you're behind a track is beautiful.
I think that's like 80% of the skill that you need to succeed in this industry is like hunger and like this energy behind something.
So when it's a song that so for people who want to be A&Rs in the future, you gotta know which producer can work on this, which mix master engineer, all those things you need to kind of be clued in on, and also remember that you have to play the role of a connector and say, okay, maybe I can bring this musician into the studio and record like a sarangi piece on this song. It might work. Like those are the kind of inputs you can have in the session. And they may or may not work, but that's the value you add to the table, right?
And give your inputs with humility, because know that you don't know shit. You are just you're just a proxy for an audience, nothing else. So I would say that whatever inputs you give as an A&R on a song to an artist, whatever, give them with a lot of humility. That अगर वो सामने से बोले भाई एकदम बकवास idea है, you should not take it to heart, because I don't even know like step 1 on FL Studio. Like, so who am I to say anything? Feel grateful that your inputs are being heard, but give it with a lot of humility, I would say.
It's the same in my reaction videos. I give feedback with humility. There's never any like intention to malign anyone's art or, say something is. So I get where you're coming from. But what do you do when it's a language you don't speak, like Marathi?
उस पे तो it is hard. Like, so the thing with me is that I grew up in like multiple different cities because my father is in the army. So मैं बहुत अलग-अलग cities में बड़ा हुआ हूँ, तो mostly जो हिंदी allied languages हैं, I kind of understand. Mostly North Indian, like a Punjabi, Haryanvi, Rajasthani, Hindi, different dialects of Hindi, stuff like that is something that I get. Punjabi तो मेरे को पूरी अच्छे से आती है, and then
हाँ.
allied languages I understand. So
Okay.
even if I don't speak a Haryanvi, I don't speak a Rajasthani or Marwadi, I can still understand what they're saying, and the cultural nuances also mostly I understand. So
Because you know the audiences, you've lived around those people.
हाँ, मैं 4 साल राजस्थान में था. I was born in Haryana, and like I've lived in Ladakh, I've lived in Assam. So like, and I've lived in a very multicultural environment owing to my army background. Again, I never had friends from one city. I've had friends from different cultures, different backgrounds. So mostly हो जाता है, but like a Marathi is still something that I don't understand fully well. तो उस पे बस एक gut feeling होती है कि melody सही लग रही है, गाने पे थोड़ा बहुत traction आ गया है, तो like उस पे जा सकते हैं. But I don't do a lot of stuff with languages that I don't understand. So like
Okay.
I do very less stuff around maybe a Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, stuff like that. I don't really do because I don't understand. I think language के words समझना ना समझना अलग चीज है, cultural nuances समझना एक अलग चीज है. Like I know कि when I hear a young Sami verse, it's like दिल्ली के अंदर ये फट जाएगा, बस लोगों के सामने रखना है. तो
हाँ,
मेरे
got
को ये
it.
पता है, like when I hear a young Sami verse, सीधे मौत stuff when I hear, I know कि भाई मतलब undeniable. I understand every single reference, छोटी से छोटी चीज. कोई बचपन का स्कूल का रेफरेंस है, मैंने दिल्ली में स्कूल करा है, तो लाइक स्टफ लाइक दैट आई अंडरस्टैंड, आई नो हाउ टू प्रेजेंट इट, बट आई मोस्टली ट्राई टू स्टे अवे फ्रॉम लैंग्वेजेस एंड stuff that I don't have cultural nuance of. Here and there I'll do like I've done one Marathi song on Mashooriya originals, which is fully Marathi. Apart from
Oh.
that, yeah, we've done one song which is fully Marathi. Yedayang was something I marketed. I did not A&R that song, but it was also partially Marathi. बाकी तो वो पूरा हिंदी में ही था.
हिंदी में था, हाँ.
Yeah, so I
True.
understand that. I've done Marwadi stuff, but then that's a language I still understand like 50-60%. So you really need to be tapped into the cultural nuances. That is why it's hard for someone to come from a education outside and then get into India and then figure stuff out. It is slightly harder for them versus someone who's been here, grown up here, studied here.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, Aniket, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a lot of people who are now landing in India, right? Labels and other kind of founders and this thing. So even when they try to get into the market, it's more than just, okay, I understand the sonic. They don't know the people and their tastes, right? I think that's a bit of a hindrance for outside players.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's just the connection that's missing, right? There's a lot of people who are opportunistic who are looking to enter the Indian market because the market is so hot right now. That is undeniable. Whether they're tech companies, I think right now, the week that we're recording, the fintech conference is happening in Bombay as well right now. All the fintech companies are here. I think the British PM is in Bombay today. PayPal just announced that they are launching on UPI. Claude came and said that they are, growing in India. Everyone is looking at the India market. All the American labels, American rights funds, European rights funds, everyone wants to enter the Indian market. And then once they try to dip their feet, try to understand, they're like, okay, it's very different from what we're used to, or we definitely need boots on the ground so that, we need someone local explaining to us what the hell is going on. Then, you calibrate a little bit. And I think that's true for most things. Like I've worked with international artists who know that India is one of the big, DAU farms of the world. You know that you're going to get a lot of views and plays and stuff from India. But the level of engagement that's required, the level of authenticity that's required to connect with Indian audiences doesn't always translate. So sometimes you might have people who are super invested but don't get results because of that same reason, right? Like you want to take advantage of the market without giving it what it needs to be able to connect. And I think that's true for anything.
Yeah.
I think what Anmol was saying earlier about the humility as well, it's still like an opinion, right? You are being paid to have an opinion about something. I think in another conversation, we've spoken about the thing that you feel or think might work may not be your particular preference, in music if you're listening to it on your own as well.
Yeah.
But you still need to understand that, this is something that is going to work for this audience set, or this is what this needs. And you may be able to give an opinion with humility, but your job is still to have an opinion and to take ownership of that opinion.
Yeah.
Because I think with A&Rs, you can get 5 options of songs, like the second style that Anmol said, you can pick a song. You have to pick a song. You might have you can look at it from a probability perspective, saying that one of these five might work. Let me pick the artist who has the most followers, and that'll
Huh.
reduce my risk. Or let me see what engagement is going up and all. That is not A&R.
That's not. Yeah.
That is data
That's
analysis.
data
So that
analysis.
is,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So
Which
that
is
is also,
happening a lot in the industry also.
which is the main source of business happening, which is coming back to your earlier point as well. Ki why do major labels want to invest in, why do labels want to invest in people who are already doing well? That's just because of the nature of the market, right? The amount of risk that it takes to put out a track, let alone break an artist. I'm talking about breaking a track itself
Mm.
is so high that any company, I'm not saying labels are good or labels are bad. Any company would like to reduce risk by having some kind of assurances
Mm.
and having an opinion and having skin in the game and saying that, you know, with humility, I think this is going to work, and taking ownership of that fact is what is required.
Yeah, and
And
also
I think
because
that's what he's doing really well.
yeah, also a lot of artists I speak to, and you guys also do. Across the board, the feeling is I don't want an A&R in the room, when I'm making my
Yeah.
song. So that also comes. So the humility factor is so important. They have to feel like they can trust your input because perfectly, as you said, you're a proxy for the audience.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about marketing then. You both have worked in that space quite a bit. At Outdustry, Aniket, you handled quite a few international campaigns. So, we'll come to that. But Anmol, specifically now with Mashooriya, you plan a rollout from start to end from the time you acquire or, even develop a song. So, tell me what the playbook is from start, like the teaser drop or the acquiring.
Let me get my notebook 1 second.
This is recording. Take notes, State.
So there is not much to note down actually. So
He's not going to reveal his secrets.
there are no secrets.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
So rollout
Mota
ka,
mota.
it's mostly this. If you have an active audience, then you think about a rollout. Otherwise, there is no rollout because there is
Huh.
no audience,
So for
right?
a complete new, fresh artist.
For a fresh artist, भाई just release music. Don't like artwork डालेगा कोई देख ही नहीं रहा है तो क्या फर्क पड़ जाएगा? तो like unless you have 100 dedicated fans, there is no point of like doing a pre-release activity or whatever because again like there is a rationale behind it कि भाई if you put a lot of mind behind how I want to roll out my song, maybe you do 5 steps before you actually release, and suppose you don't have 100 dedicated fans, you're talking to a very small audience. तो क्या होगा? बहुत ज़्यादा you'll spend a lot of your brain power in like doing the rollout. You will maybe do crazy things, and maybe some of your content that you post pre-release goes viral also. But I am an audience. मैं scroll कर रहा हूँ मेरे feed पे अगर आ भी गई reel, like if it shows up and I'm like, oh, very interesting, he's doing some crazy shit. I want to see more. I want to consume the song. There is no song to consume. So like if you can take maybe say 10 shots at like a viral moment around your song in the rollout, why would you want to waste even one before the song is released? Because अगर आप पहुंच भी जाते हो audience तक and a fresh person even comes to your reel and sees it, there is no way that they can go and consume the song. So what you want to use your pre-release time is to warm up your audience that is already dedicated to you. So like I have done a lot of rollouts. I've done a lot of rollouts that have driven a lot of engagement. But I've done it for an artist like a Samohit, like an Altaf, like a Raval. They
Like
have
Frappe, the
and
ad,
yeah,
the news
yeah,
articles.
yeah. So like they have 5, 10,000, 20,000 people thinking about them every day, like waiting for music every day from them, so they can warm their fans up and get them to do activity and have compounding effects. But if you're someone who doesn't have an audience and there's no like कोई गलत नहीं है accept करने में कि मेरे गाने के बारे में why will someone care? So like when that is the case, you do a very simple rollout or you just drop your song.
You just drop it and then you build on that
And then
after.
you figure out you Instagram is giving you reach. If your content and your music is good, nobody can stop you from blowing up. That's like the bottom line. And if you think that नहीं चल रहा है और मेरे गाना बहुत अच्छा है और मैं रील भी अच्छी बना रहा हूँ तब भी नहीं चल रहा है, पॉसिबल ही नहीं है. ये चीज पॉसिबल ही नहीं है क्योंकि
Really?
yeah, for sure, like the algorithm is giving you reach. The algorithm, what you have to do is that understand कि Instagram पे क्या चलता है, consume as many reels as possible. When you come across a viral reel, try to break it down कि ये क्यों वायरल हो रही है. Instagram, the main objective that Instagram has कि एक person को they want to keep on their platform for as long as possible. That is Instagram's incentive.
Yeah.
If you feed that incentive, you will go viral. How do you feed that incentive? Create content that makes people stay and consume it completely. So if you make a reel on a song that you've done. You have to be very creative with it and make it so that कि अगर आप 20 सेकंड की रील बना रहे हो तो उसमें 18 सेकंड का रिटेंशन हो, you are viral at that point. So it is that simple. So what you can do is, once you have a song out, let's just think from there. Let's think about people who are at their 0 to 1 journey. Put the song out, create 10-15 solid content pieces around it, zero budget. आप अपने phone camera से बना सकते हो, and you can consume. There are like hundreds of artists who are doing it really well. बाहर भी, India में भी. Just go through their content, try to make something, try to drive some inspiration, add something authentic on it, and create something new. Make like 10-15 reels. Use the trial reel wala feature जो अभी new आया है. Use, post it on your own profile. Do whatever. Like, if you don't have an audience, you don't really need to care about कि मैं spam कर दूंगा. Just feed the audience with content and see what happens. There are so many examples of it. अभी there is this song that I have acquired. I've partnered up on with this artist Swagger Boy, who makes Marathi music, and this song is called Kahi Tari. He blew that song up, and it's on the local Pulse Mumbai charts just through his own content on his own profile. And look at the amount of reels he's done. Look at the way he's done it. And it's all like almost zero budget. Like, he can just go out, take out his phone and just shoot stuff and edit it nicely. And all of that he's done on
So it's
his own.
all from his own account that he's
Yeah,
posted
mostly.
those
Now
reels.
that we've come in, we've added stuff to it.
Okay.
But still, I'm still saying ki, even after us coming in and us putting money in influencer marketing, in pages, whatever, the song is still doing good because he's consistently posting content around it, and he's posting algorithm friendly, easy to consume content, and just putting it out there. And he's not really like concerned about कि मेरी profile timeline कैसी लगेगी, ये कैसा लगेगा, वो कैसा लगेगा. पहले अपनी audience तो बना लो, then think about it.
Yeah.
Like if a Divine or a Krishna are thinking about this, then it makes sense. But like, if you are at a 0 to 1 journey, you don't really have the luxury कि भाई मेरे को ये ऐसे दिखाना है, वैसे दिखाना है. पहले एक audience बना लो. So like, do stuff like that. If you don't want to do it, use third party pages or influencers if you can put a budget. So like, rollout, don't really think about a rollout unless you have an audience. If you do have an audience, then your rollout ka objective should be ki, how do I make my audience tell their friends about it? How do I make them tell their friends ki ye aa raha hai? How do I make them send this reel to their friends? So like, think
Achha. So like a more creative idea.
that if you have 100 dedicated fans and all of them send it to like 2 people each, that's like 200. Yeah, like a creative idea, or like incentivizing them to send it to their fans. जैसे लोग, एक बहुत basic तरीका ये हो गया कि 1,000 shares on this reel and I'll drop the song. That's like the most basic form of it, but you can be more creative with it.
Yeah.
And like, incentivize your current fan base to tell their friends about it. And if you have an audience, if you don't, then release the song and see how do you want to distribute the product that you've created. Your song is the product, you want to find distribution for it. So how do you do that? You make algorithm friendly content and you put it in front of, you release it, you put it in front of people, and if people like it, your reel can go to millions of views, and then that's all you need to do. So it is, I would say it's very easy right now to be able to do that. And if it's not happening, if it's not happening, I wouldn't say your song is good or bad. I would say maybe your song does not have a target audience. If you are not able to, even after you put out great content, like 10-15 content pieces around it, move on to the next song and you will find an audience. That's what I really like honestly feel, and I've seen like enough case studies of this happening. So
wow.
Yeah.
So for everyone who's trying to crack the code, this is a very tall statement to hear कि अगर आपका म्यूजिक अच्छा है, गाना अच्छा है, तो वो जाएगा वायरल और वो बनेगा हिट.
Music अच्छा is like not very accurate. If your music is, if there exists a target audience for that music.
Okay.
Like more, I would say, because art is subjective, right? It can be good for 50 people.
Yeah.
But if it's good for 5 lakh people, then yeah, then the statement holds. So if the market, if you think the market is going to accept your song, then all you have to do is put it in front of the market in a way that is friendly to the medium. And the medium is Instagram. The medium can also be YouTube. The medium can be Twitter, Reddit, whatever. So medium friendly content and music that has an audience that would be willing to consume it, stuff like that. And some artists need to like do, it's like, if you studied business, yeah, thoda product, like sometimes you have to introduce a new product into the market, right? Sometimes your sound has a reference. Like if you make, say, Punjabi pop music, so audience is already primed for it. Like a
Yeah.
non-Punjabi speaking audience is also ready to consume Punjabi pop music.
Yeah.
But if you are making music in, say, a language that is not very pan-India popular right now, you might need to create a new market for yourself. And that takes more time. That takes like someone like a Sambata has done, right? I listen to Sambata's music and I don't understand a word, but I really like it.
Yeah.
But that's because he was consistent with it. He had a certain branding. He gathered at least the Marathi audience with him, and that Marathi audience eventually started telling people about him, and then he eventually grew. I would say he's sort of pan India, getting to pan India popularity. So so
Okay.
yeah, for some artists the journey will be longer. For some artists it'll be shorter, and it depends on how far the sound is from the sound that is popular right now, if that makes sense.
How far the sound is from the popular sound.
Yeah, if the further away it is, the more time it'll take for you to find an audience, right?
Got it. Yeah.
The closer it is to the sound that is popular right now, the faster you can find an audience. But then
Okay.
you have to have like some separation from what's already happening.
Hmm.
Like thoda bahut separation, but not a lot. But if there is a lot, then your journey might be slightly longer.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
but
Got it.
these are also vague estimations. Nobody knows. कुछ भी blow up हो
It's
सकता है.
individual case studies. Yeah, I get it. But
Case
also,
studies, but I'm saying कि largely ये है. So if you really want to, it can't be turned into a science. But if you really want to turn it into a science, तो मैं अपने side से approx estimations दे रहा हूँ. But there can be a new artist that completely destroys this and creates
do
a large audience and like
just waiting for that moment. But what I'm taking away is, and a lot of artists struggle with being creative on short format and putting that consistent content out. So I think ChatGPT is a good rescue
or
thing
like get
for.
a friend who does it. No, get like another hack for you is you have an influencer friend. Tell him भाई कि मेरे म्यूजिक में 50% रॉयल्टी तेरी 50% मेरी. Tell them कि कैसे मोनेटाइज होता है म्यूजिक. 1 मिलियन स्ट्रीम्स होंगे तो हमें इतने पैसे मिलेंगे. 50% तेरे
3 रुपए.
मेरे.
हाँ.
और अब
We'll come to that.
अब मेरे लिए रील्स बना ले. अब मेरे लिए रील्स बना. Consider it your product. It's like think of your song as a product, right? एक आज की डेट में फिटनेस ब्रांड्स क्या कर रहे हैं? इन्फ्लुएंसर्स को ले रहे हैं. उनको
Yes.
they're giving discount codes. Every time that code is used, a certain amount goes to the influencer, a certain amount goes to the major amount goes to the company. If
Yeah.
you are an artist, talk to like 3 influencers, tell them that मेरे गाने में मैं 20% रॉयल्टी दे दूंगा और मेरे लिए रील्स बनाओ.
Help me
If you
push
don't
it.
have resources.
It's affiliate
Like,
marketing, है ना?
yeah, it's basically affiliate marketing, but these ideas will only come to you if you really look at music as a product. And if you
Yeah.
want to monetize it, if you want to make money off of it, थोड़ा बहुत तो उसको productize करना पड़ेगा आपको. थोड़ा बहुत तो
हाँ.
उसको as a product सोचना पड़ेगा गाने
But
को.
ये सब चीजें usually artists don't have the mind for these kind of thoughts, they're very consumed by the creative process of it. So again, that's a whole other conversation. But like a song like Kehne Lagaa, which I think started growing post all the short form content for it. It found its audience. And then I kind of compared it to an Osho Jain song, Dekha Hi Nahi, which I heard back in the like early this year. And I was waiting, when is this going to blow up? Because you were saying if it's a good song, it will blow up. But there was hardly any short form content around it from the artist, I feel. But 7 months later, अब वो है viral trending charts पे. Organically, it has reached there. So I think it's a good thing for artists to take away how to furnish that content from your end. If you
Yeah.
know the song is good. I mean,
I think
everyone.
it is that mindset point is so important now because it's not like it's not an intentional thing from most people. Like I've worked with a bunch of labels and teams and all also, where you've got a small team, you've got a tight timeline, you need to put stuff out. In some cases, you've got advance obligations. So people resort to like, acha, abhi timeline is this. We need to have a pre-release campaign. We need to go live on the release date. We need to have these assets go out post-release, and that becomes like a template.
Yeah.
And everyone resorts to hype marketing because we need to be like, this is the best song ever, then people will come. And it's like, that didn't work. Okay, let's try this again the next time. We'll try this again the next time. And that's, I think, a very vicious cycle that people get caught in through no necessary fault of their own, because in many cases, these things are not taught. We don't know anything different unless you try something else and it works. Or you listen to something like this and someone gives you another way. Think about the way you're marketing in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
Because even today, you go on social media and you see something that's trending. What will people think? They're like, let's make that. Instead of what about that worked? Let me try something that will work for my own stuff. It'll be like, acha, this worked for someone else. Let's try making that and let's see if that works for us.
That scientific breakdown doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't necessarily have the time or luxury to sit and analyze things also,
Yeah.
because pressure is high, and bills are there to be paid, and hype is there to be fulfilled on. So people kind of resort to what they
Yes.
know, what they can see.
So then how do we, there's a risk of over automation and sort of copy paste content strategies. How do you avoid that, Anmol? You're running campaigns all the time.
I don't avoid it.
Okay.
I Yeah.
You know what works,
if
and
if
उससे थोड़ा सा हटके जाना है तो you do that.
if suppose एक हार्डकोर पंजाबी ट्रैक मैंने एक तरीके से मार्केट करा एंड
हाँ,
वो चल गया,
हाँ.
why would I want to fix something that's not broken? मैं दोबारा वही चीज कर दूंगा. Maybe lyrical element थोड़ा different है तो I will maybe tweak it a little bit, but till it doesn't work I keep like
Hmm.
why I found like something that works. I would want to do it till it stops working because I'm not an artist, right?
हाँ.
मेरा सिर्फ एक ही इंसेंटिव है कि मेरे को गाना बड़ा करना है, मेरे कैंपेन पे मैक्सिमम व्यूज आने चाहिए.
Okay.
If for an artist it shouldn't be the case, the copy paste content strategy, but for me I'm not even putting content out on artist profiles. I'm putting content out on pages, on like influencers that do lip sync and stuff.
Yeah.
उसमें change कर लोगे, what works is what
हाँ.
works.
Okay. But
So
when you do creative campaigns like the Frappe one with the
yeah,
newspaper article, or even that Samohit Altaf thing, that rollout that you did, there's so many different creative ones that you
हाँ,
guys have done.
उसमें yeah,
How does that get initiated, and when does that happen?
उसमें तो so like again we think like we are like a creative agency, right? And we want to
हाँ.
push the creative boundary as much as possible. What I was referring to as a copy paste strategy was like when I do marketing like volume numbers marketing कि मेरे को reels बड़ी बड़ी viral ले जानी है, but
Okay.
when I want to create a moment, it's very narrative based. It's more um it's more narrative, it's more storytelling, it's more creating a moment. So that's when like stuff like rollouts come in, and that where that comes from is like hard, but we don't really take inspiration from anyone. हमें पता है कि ये album आ रही है, we understand कि artist की personality कैसी है,
Hmm.
and उसके बाद we just plan a rollout around that.
Okay.
We
That has a bigger budget, that kind of campaign.
budget as in, sorry.
The pool of money on the table you have, is that bigger when you plan a campaign like that, or it depends
So
on the artist? किस
this
artist का है?
this does not really cost money, right? If you want to do the rollout thing does not really cost money. It's like content ideas for your own profile.
No, but
The
you're coming up with a creative strategy, so that is
As in
different.
our fees you're talking about.
Yeah, not your fees, but just okay, this campaign is bigger, so we're going to come up with a bigger idea. We'll get more graphics made. We'll, have.
Yeah, yeah,
Vision, I guess. Yeah, the
yeah,
vision grows.
Yeah.
yeah, it does. So वही है, but again like it's not it's very hard, like there is no science behind it. Like we just know कि ये artist की personality ऐसी है. um, Maybe if it's a hip hop artist we understand hip hop
Hmm.
audience की psychology कैसी है, and how do we trigger them in a positive way, in a negative way, whatever, but how do we get a reaction out of them?
Trigger
That
them.
Yeah.
That newspaper article was genius. It was genius. It got so many people talking. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this doesn't sound, no one can eat 20 ice creams. It's impossible. But it got so much conversation going.
Yeah. That's something that really worked. Even the Samohit Altaf Robin Hood rollout that we did, that
Yes.
was also like something that really worked.
Yeah. Very
And
unique.
उस time AI भी काफी hot था, अभी भी है, but at that point it was like going crazy. So we used that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other rollouts we've done that are still like not. We can't really say that it's a rollout, but yeah.
Nice. And Aniket, when artists would come from outside to
Hmm.
market their music in India at Outdustry, what would your approach be? Especially one, explaining to them how Indian audiences consume and tweaking their probably international campaigns to suit the Indian mindset and any other aspects of it.
For international artists, there was an element of standard, marketing, which is making sure that
Okay.
their music is on the DSP charts. It gets itself to radio. There are some kind of interviews that are happening, basically exposing the artists themselves to an Indian audience. And
Okay.
then for the sound itself, that was a separate piece of marketing. We would do influencers and edit pages,
Okay.
still the same kind of style.
Yeah.
But what really worked was localizing some of the songs. So either having a local remix of an international track
Okay.
or doing a collaboration with a local artist. So we had a bunch of those examples. We did, Ritviz did a Major Lazer Light It Up remix for Diwali.
Right.
That was one. Amal Malik, Sukritri and Prakriti did Levitating by Dua, an Indian version that came out. So even though someone like Dua Lipa is such a big artist who's got, a global fan base, there would still be a large percentage of the Indian audience who would know an Amal over a Dua.
Yeah.
So that kind of collaboration with, of course, um, interviews and follow-ups and pieces of content around that brings the song and the artist to a larger audience. So that was the intention.
Okay, nice. But what I'm hearing also is right now the channels giving the best ROI are reels and short form content. We are in that dopamine fueled world. But are there any other channels that should be highlighted to artists for marketing? I used to think back in the day that getting your track on a playlist and pitching strongly for playlist placement is a thing. A lot of artists still believe that. I think both of you can shed some light individually on this.
In terms of platforms, playlisting is something that I don't really pay much attention to, both editorial and user-generated playlists. That's something
Okay.
that I experimented with a couple of years back, but it doesn't really, like, editorial helps, but they will put you on editorial once your song has enough
Yeah.
people talking.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I think some of the DSPs do a very good job of editorial playlisting. I think Apple is something that I would want to give a shout out to.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I think Apple Music has. I got reintroduced to Desi. Like, I was listening to a lot of Desi pop when I was younger back in school, but then I got introduced to a See Them All through Apple Music editorial. I got introduced to a 47 through Apple Music editorial, and
Nice.
Obsessed was first supported by Apple Music editorial team, and
Nice.
like, I have पहले भी मैंने काफी appreciation करा है उनका, and I think that they do a phenomenal job of actually having pulse over कि क्या कौन से artists pop कर रहे हैं, and they give a chance to every, like, whoever they think that whoever is popping off a little bit, whoever has chatter, they will give a shot to them on their. So I think they drive a lot of discovery. I have a hunch that Vicky Kaushal ने भी obsessed Apple Music की playlist पे discover करा है. So
Very possible.
Possible. So yeah, but in terms of platforms giving platforms that you can use, we have started using Reddit a lot. Again, most of those campaigns are done in a way that the mods and whoever is controlling the subreddit does not know that it's a promotion, because it's technically like
अभी
not.
बहुत spot हो जाता है. Sometimes I see comments कि ये क्या paid post डाल दिया.
Sometimes it gets spotted, but like privately I can share posts with you that have been the top post on like India Social, which is one of the biggest subreddits, and it's a planted post from us for a song, and people do not realize that. So we've done a lot of Reddit marketing. We've really been like very successful, and the thing with Reddit is that when an audience is on Instagram, right, they're scrolling passively. They're just like, ठीक है, like half asleep. Even when we scroll on Instagram, it's like we don't really remember the last two episodes, right?
Yeah.
But Reddit पे
involved conversations. Yeah.
बहुत ही curiosity high होती है Reddit जब कोई आता है. First of all, Reddit people come on Reddit who are slightly like they lean towards some being intellectual, right? तो थोड़ा सा ये चीज आती है Reddit पे, and they're also like when they are on Reddit, they are very curious. They're sometimes talking about intellectual stuff while there's another side, but like a lot of these political subreddits and all, there people come in to share opinions and like stuff to do where you need to think about stuff, write stuff, and like have debates and all.
Yeah, the active chat rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the Indian hip hop head subreddit is like one of the places that's like a lot of back and forth happens, and then artists are famous, so it's very high engagement.
Yeah.
अगर आप वहाँ पे audience के ऊपर hold कर लो, तो like if my reel gets say 10,000 likes, and if a Reddit post around a song gets 100 upvotes, there are more conversions on the song on 100 upvotes on.
Really?
Yeah.
In number of streams?
Yeah, and it's like infinitely harder to get 100 upvotes.
Yeah.
It's like infinitely harder to get 100 upvotes. It's easy to get 10,000 likes on reels. It's very hard to get 100 upvotes. But if you get 100 to 100 upvotes now, you will see your Spotify numbers go up for sure.
Damn.
Like for sure. So that's why we've started incorporating a lot of Reddit, and some of the songs that have blown up recently that we worked on, a lot they had a lot to do with Reddit.
So you're measuring that metric is measured by upvotes. That's it.
अपवोट्स होते हैं, then if you are the original poster तो आपको views भी दिखते हैं, comments दिखते हैं, सब like हाँ कितने views है वो भी दिखता है. So
Okay,
like
that's good. Yeah.
100 upvotes होंगे तो 1000, 2000, 3000 views होंगे, which is not a lot. एक reel पे million views भी हो सकते हैं. 10,000 likes की reel पे at least 200k views होंगे. But like Reddit पे if you get 3,000-4,000 views, right? Like this is insanely higher ROI than reels. But the thing is that there are no compounding effects, there are no network effects on Reddit. Like you can't reel पे क्या आप like करोगे आपके friends के पास भी चली जाएगी वो reel, या फिर reel को algorithm push करेगा और थोड़ा. Reddit पे beyond the subreddit it does not grow that much. So the compounding effects, you can't just DM it to someone. And Reddit user base is much smaller than an Instagram, obviously. And the hours in a day you spend on Reddit is much smaller. But as a platform, like
which is why it's shocking to me that it's giving you more streams.
Yeah, but you have to spend a lot of time in creating a post and thinking about a narrative, not get caught that it's a promotion. So a lot of time, a lot of headspace goes into that.
And when you do get caught, sorry, Aniket.
You get banned, your account gets banned, you make another account.
Okay, got it. Aniket.
I was saying, do you think working through Reddit gives you a better, like helps you understand your target audience for a track better? Because there are specific categories.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you might be confused what to do on Instagram, go on Reddit, try different categories, figure out who the audience might be, and then make something for Instagram based on what worked.
Yeah, for sure. Like because niche communities are there, so you can figure out ki target audience kya hogi. Plus, people have a very helpful attitude on Reddit somehow. So,
it's not as toxic as Twitter.
Yeah, एक बार क्या हुआ था कि we posted something and we got caught that it's a promotion. A lot of people commented कि promote करा है and post remove हो गया. हमने follow up post डाला कि sorry guys, I tried to market my friend's song because he does not have resources. So now I'm giving another shot. This is an open promotion for my song and my previous post got removed. Please support blah blah blah. And we posted the song.
That'll get lots of hearts. Like yeah, bro, full support.
It was a real story. Like I was actually not like I wasn't affiliated to the song. I was just doing free promotion for a friend, and I became authentic and I said, "Bhai, I was trying to be smart. It did not work. Now I'm being very honest." But that post became the biggest post on that subreddit. So many people.
Authenticity wins.
Yeah, of course. Like, but you should try being first. You should try being clever. If not, then maybe
then be authentic.
This is terrible advice, but okay.
No, this is just for Reddit, not
works. For yeah. It works. Okay, so
Reddit पे ऐसा है like authenticity काफी ज़्यादा आपको काफी अच्छा feedback मिल जाएगा. If you're an artist, you can just go to one of the subreddits and say कि जैसे Indian hip hop heads पे भी कई लोग जाते हैं बोलते हैं मैंने verse लिखा है, give me feedback. So you do reply. So you can go to a bigger subreddit. There are so many other, and there are like art. जैसे there is this artist Dhanji, right? He has his own subreddit. Like his fan base is so cultish that they have a R Dhanji subreddit, and that is very active. So
it is. They're active in my comments. I'm now in Ahmedabad. Everywhere is Dhanji only.
Crazy. So yeah, he has a crazy cult, and like the fan base really loves him. So so like Reddit is as a platform should be looked at. Maybe I'm missing platforms also. You should go out and see कि audience कहाँ exist करती है. जहाँ पे भी audience footprint है, जहाँ पे वो थोड़े से attentive हैं, you can try X also. You can market your songs on X.
Ex-DHH used to be a thing. I don't feel like there's a lot of conversation there now. I don't know.
Even beyond DHH, why can't you have like a big account post your song, right?
Got it. Okay. Interesting. But then every platform is different as to what the majority of the audience on that platform is coming there for. On X, it's mostly news. You know?
So like you have to be chronically online. So
God. Save us from the screens. Yeah. Okay, but these are good like practical examples and takeaways.
Marketing, spend an hour a day, make 50 posts on 50 subreddits. कुछ ना कुछ तो चल ही जाएगा.
वो ही पोस्ट आप कॉपी पेस्ट करके सब
नहीं अगर आप राजस्थान में डाल रहे हो तो आपको कुछ तो नैरेटिव बनाना पड़ेगा कि I'm from a small city in Rajasthan, nobody listens to me, but this is my song. In our Maharashtra, just you can copy paste the states and like just keep changing the state on every subreddit.
Okay, nice. That's
it's like a very basic way, but you can be clever. Like I'm just giving you a direction into which you can think about.
Right.
We've done. I can show that to you like on a personal level, and it's like borderline unethical, but like it works.
Just touching the line, not crossing. Okay, interesting.
Borderline ethical and pure lies, na basically.
Aniket, any platforms you think have been useful or any other playlist pitching? So not really.
No,
Podcasts.
not specifically. I think podcasts topically they do move. I think for me also it's been the same. I mean, it's been Instagram, YouTube. Um, I've done less marketing over the last, I would say, 1.5 years. Been focusing
Okay.
on more, music tech platforms and companies, so less marketing campaigns as such. But when I did, it was similar. I think the other thing that I would talk about is categories rather than platforms. So looking at, for example, overlaps with interest groups. You can look at gaming, you can look at dance, you can look at, you know, different interest groups as their own niches. I think we've spoken
Yeah.
about subreddits as niches and stuff like that, but I think that does help. So I remember when Ab Satra was putting out his first track ever, we reached out to Vinamra from Dostcast and said that we should have you on this podcast. And he was, it was already a big podcast at the time. So I had to come up with a story and pitch as to why Ab Satra would make sense on his podcast and talk about his,
His
upbringing and
backstory. Yeah.
background. And that was creating interest. And I said that I think your audience will, fuck with this story. So you should give it a chance. Like maybe he won't bring you any audience, but the audience that you already have is going to like that chat. And it was sick. Like it was so good to watch. So I think those kind of ways of reaching out is probably what I learned rather than what platforms necessarily work or don't work.
So I think long form is nice when the back-end story is interesting and needs to be put out there, because you can't do that as much in a short
Correct.
form.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good point. We're talking about long form and short form at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And so again, when you're measuring the success of a campaign finally, what is the main metric? Is it the number of streams?
Yeah.
That's it?
Plain and simple.
Nothing else beyond that.
It depends on campaign objectives. Sometimes you just want to create conversation and you maybe know that the song is not very scalable, but you want to do step one for the artist ki iske around conversations ban jaye, then maybe like the follower count or organic mentions of the artist, stuff like that might be the metric. But 90% of the campaigns that I do, it comes down to one thing: streams aa rahe hain, nahi aa rahe hain, because all the interests of the client and my own interests are linked to how much revenue can be made off of that song. And that comes down to streams, and also a good chunk of it also comes down to the user generated content that's being created, because that's all monetizable. So shorts kitni ban rahi hai, reels kitni ban rahi hai, and then streams kitne aa rahe hain.
Okay. And so say you've got this rollout, you've got all these short form reels that are happening, and how do you manage the risk in the sense chal nahi raha hai, streams nahi aa rahe hain, and I'm not seeing any conversion. So how do you know when to retire a campaign or to pivot and go in another direction? Has that happened?
Yeah, it has happened many times. And agar nahi aa raha hai, usually sometimes we have a hunch in the beginning of the campaign ki bhai, does this song have potential to blow or not? But anyway, we work in an unbiased way ki maybe it can work. Sometimes we are wrong also. But I think it's a very important skill, specific skill for music marketing, to know when to pull the plug, to know when things are not working, so that you don't bleed money, and also to know when the song has hit a ceiling. Maybe a song reached 20,000 streams a day, but no matter how much money you put further into it, that is the maximum it's going to do. There is
How do you know that? How do
you obviously you can't know for sure. You
see 2-3 days of plateau happening? Is that a way?
A good indication is that मान लो एक गाना 20,000 streams कर रहा है, ठीक है? And if it has maybe say 5,000 reels on it. On day 2, it does 20,000 streams again, but the reel count goes up to 6,000. Then on day 3, it does maybe 22,000, but reel count goes up to 7,000, which means that the song is being exposed to more audience every day, but the daily listenership of that song is not growing that much. It's staying consistent. Maybe some old listeners are going away and some new listeners are coming on, but it's not going from 20 to 30, whereas the reels are going way ahead. Or ये भी हो सकता है कि suppose a big celebrity posted around your song. Sometimes when you have a viral track, a big celeb will come and post and they'll do like 4-5 million views. But you go from 20,000 streams to 19,000 streams. You go down in streams. So then you know कि इतने सारे नए लोगों को expose होने के बाद भी conversion नहीं आया. इसका मतलब कि शायद plateau कर गया. Now these are all again estimations. You cannot know for sure, because it might be the case कि उस celebrity की audience did not fuck with the song, but maybe there is a different direction you can take and you can think about it. But mostly when it's being exposed to 5-10 million people, उसमें से कुछ लोग तो होंगे जिनको गाना अच्छा लगा होगा. If the streams are going down, if nobody is coming, then maybe you've exhausted your audience. कि इतने ही लोग इस गाने को सुन सकते हैं, इसके beyond कोई लोगों का टेस्ट इतना नहीं है कि वो सुनेंगे. ये could be the case, and all of this is estimation. You cannot know for sure.
Caveat. Yes. Yeah.
But like this is the stuff that we operate with. कि भाई, okay, this song is doing 50,000 streams a day. Every day more reels are coming in. We're driving millions of views on reels, but 50 से ऊपर नहीं जा रहा है और ना 50 से नीचे आ रहा है. So like just let it be at 50 and don't bleed more money. Like as a label, look at recouping, look at making money out of it rather than spending और 2-3 लाख आप लगा दोगे, आपकी recoupment और 2-3 महीने आगे चली जाएगी. From a very business point of view.
Yeah, which you have to keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, what does it take to turn a casual listener into a fan or a super fan? Both of you can answer this because there has to be some emotional trigger.
Yeah, like you turn someone from a non-listener to a casual listener, which is your first hook, which is your first song आपका बड़ा हुआ. अब उसको पता चल गया कि okay, this is an artist, I listen to him. उसके बाद तो आपकी story ही उसको fan में convert कर सकती है. So like put your story out there through your, maybe you've converted them into a follower, but they don't know who you are. Maybe stories ke through, maybe captions ke through, maybe apni reels ke through. Tell them a little bit more about you. And consistently deliver the music. Keep delivering music. Have a consistent messaging going out. Ki theek hai, I make music in all different directions, but I have a specific messaging that keeps going out. So stuff like that, and people will ride with you. For example, Anyway has this messaging of that I'm an independent artist, right? And I've done everything without a major label, which is factual, and it's actually very commendable what he's done. Yeah. But he keeps doubling down on that messaging, right? Independent, organic, and it is true. It's commendable. So a lot of the audience rallies behind him. कि भाई ये हमारा artist है, ये तो fully independent. That is like a branding he has, right? Yeah. That messaging he puts through, and all big artists kind of have like a rough messaging that they put out and that they keep doubling down on. Also, you'll see this. So that's how you convert it. And then once you're big enough, then people are watching your every move. So with every move, you're able to, continue the story that you've created. So people might not become your fans just based on your music. Sometimes they will, but maybe a little bit more, some stories, some other stuff that you're into, make them know you as a person. That's how they,
I think a super fan is born when a person is emotionally invested in you and your journey, more the journey than you.
Yeah.
And I feel like highlighting your journey and taking them along with you on that journey gets them to, it feels like they're sitting in the car with you in the passenger seat. They're part of it. Okay, so I feel I wanted to ask you how you would plan a campaign, but I think we've gone over that.
Yeah.
Aniket, for music tech, I know you're building this community now that is trying to bridge the gap. It is so important what you're doing. It's trying to bridge the gap between startup founders and innovators and tech experts and the music business. And as someone who's seen the industry from the outside, from the inside, moving into creating this space and this community, what prompted you? Why did you feel like there was a need for it? And I know there's a tech literacy gap in music for sure, but how did the thought come about, and what has been the movement on this front so far?
It's always been like I've always been excited by new ideas, to be honest. Like that's been my driving force throughout a lot of my career. Before music also, I was working in tech consulting in the UK. I was working in digital payments. So I got exposed to stuff like blockchain and machine learning and AI back in 2015, 2016 when, Web3 was blockchain then, AI was machine learning then. And, there was so much stuff happening. I was like, okay, got exposed to startups and, new and exciting ideas. So that was my entry into the market. I was working in fintech. And I've always loved music. I've played music since I was 10, played a few shows with a cover band in around Bombay, and always had a problem of getting paid. We always used to go play a show. 2 months later, call the venue ki check aaya hai, nahi aaya, check aaya nahi aaya, go and pick up the check, then transfer it to everyone through bank transfer. And at the end of the day, 3.5 months later, everyone's made 1,000 rupees. And you've gone through this entire headache. So I felt like, okay, payments was a big problem in music, and I happened to be working in payments. So I thought maybe there's, some opportunity to be looked at within India. That time I thought maybe we can look at, what a SaaS-based record label might look like. And, basically saying that let's go back to India and start a company that solves problems for music through technology. Very simple. At that point,
Nice.
I didn't know that the Indian industry was different to the rest of the world, the Indian copyright system, the
Yes.
rest of the world. None of that. So came back, got very lucky to, start working with a company like Outdustry with amazing people, great brand, great artists to work with. So learning curve was immense. And working across India and China, so got exposed to two of the biggest markets.
Nice.
One very well monetized now, one hopefully still getting monetized. The metadata ecosystem was very different in each. The way that they both worked with the rest of the world was very different. China works in an isolation. They've got their own platforms, right? Tencent, NetEase,
Yeah.
Kuaishou, Douyin, whereas India is exposed to the rest of the world with our platforms. So there was always a sense of what is the intersection of business and technology and music. Music because I love music and I love, the creative process. But I've always felt that my contribution was being able to speak multiple languages. Like I could talk to a person who's writing code, I could talk to an artist, I could talk to someone in a boardroom
Yeah.
and level with all of them. And that was
Mm.
something that I felt like I could do.
Nice.
So I spent 6 years, learning copyrights, learning marketing, learning operations, business development. With Says and his movement label, we put out a series of NFTs for, one of his
Yeah.
album launches,
Yeah.
which was a fun campaign that sold out within one day. For artists like Lauv, who visited the market a couple of times. He had some live shows in Bombay, performed at Lollapalooza as well.
Yeah.
So we had, exposure to a lot of these big things. And um, around last year, so end of 2024, Outdustry got acquired by Virgin Music, which is a subsidiary of Universal.
Awesome.
And I felt like that was a good time for me to, explore the music tech route again. I've always been, clued into the global side of things with communities like Water and Music and, media research, the stuff that they put out in the UK and
Mm.
all of these reports and stuff coming out. Just
Yeah.
never felt like India was there. We're too obsessed with consumption only. Like, it's streaming service, audience, reels, consumption. That's it. There's no
Ah.
tools for rights management, or at least
Yes.
use of tools for rights management.
Yeah.
Lots of people are using tools. For distribution, we're using international tools. For rights management, we're using international tools. For marketing, we're using international platforms. Like where was
It's no
the Indian,
Atmanirbharta. Yes.
where is it in India? Like
Yeah.
we're a service-based economy in the music industry right now,
Yeah.
using a suite of international tools and platforms,
Mm.
and earning in rupees and paying in dollars, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. We should be doing the other way around.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of early intention. So I've been working with a couple of music tech platforms on product strategy for
Okay.
the last year. I've been working with Madverse very closely for the last year.
Okay.
A lot of exciting stuff happening on that front. And that was the intention key. Okay, there's isolated, actions happening in various places. Some people are doing interesting things, but one of the other big problems I saw was that there are people coming from the tech world, like
Mm.
startup founders. Let's say someone who's worked at a Grow or a Zerodha or something like that says that, hey, or a delivery,
Mm.
they've worked in a startup for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and they say, hey, we want to come start our own startup. Like so many people come into the market saying that, "Oh, we've worked in a company, now I want to build my own company." They look at some of these reports in the West, they'll be like, oh, this, creator marketing company has raised X million dollars, we'll also build that.
Mm.
Again, without knowing how the Indian market is
Indian
different,
market is, yeah.
looking at licensing as a blocker rather
Yeah.
than understanding that that is the lifeblood of the creative industry.
Mm.
So that literature, that literacy, that language, that understanding of how do we firstly understand the problems of the music industry so that we can build solutions for it.
Yeah.
Secondly, how do we reach out to the people who will be our customers? It's either going to be labels or artists or agencies. How
Mm.
do we speak their language?
Mm.
How do we create products that are useful for them?
Mm.
And how do we raise money around that?
Mm.
So a few founders are building that. People are now building in AI. There's a lot of action happening, but there is no conversation happening between the people who are building companies
And
and
the people in the industry.
the people in the industry, because the music industry is very concerned with short term, right? What's going to blow up today? There's
Yes.
very little investment in, hey, what is
Building
going
for
to,
the long term. Yeah.
yeah. So unless you can tell me why your product or solution is going to impact my bottom line today, I'll just say, bro, I don't have time for this. We'll
Yeah.
talk, in a few months or whatever. And it's the same reason that managers don't pay attention to publishing in the music industry right now,
Yes.
and which
Yes.
is a big problem
It's a huge
because
problem.
publishing is difficult, it's confusing,
Yeah.
and you don't make money. So people are don't make money yet. It's a very
You
important
don't
part
make
of the.
money instantly. Yeah.
You don't make money instantly. So it
Yeah.
always gets relegated to, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
It's the same with, campaigns that don't work. Bro, we'll figure it out later. Let's just do what we need to do right now. But that later never comes. And then by that time, you run out of money or you run out of steam or you become jaded. So to be a little bit of a bridge between these two,
Yeah.
worlds. That's why Music Tech India was formed by a bunch of people like myself who are either interested in music tech or who are building music tech companies themselves. There are a lot of global chapters, Music Tech UK, Music Tech Germany, a
Okay.
lot of the
Nice.
European companies, not companies, a lot of the European foundations are blessed with stuff like government grants
Yes.
and public funding, creating sandbox programs, creating acceleration programs. We don't have any of that for the
Yeah.
Indian.
In the UK, there are actually organizations that are talking to the investors and connecting them to the startup founders, and
Yeah,
also in the process educating them on things like rights and royalties and whatever else is involved in the creation of music from start to end consumer.
yeah,
They're doing all of that. Yeah, we don't have anything like that.
correct. And people understand why you need to pay money for services. So the entire market is a lot more mature as well, in Western countries, and let's say countries where the per capita GDP is above a certain level, where in India the um, in India people are concerned with roti kapda makan. In the West, people are concerned with self-actualization. So there are very clear differences between what are needed in the
Nicely
two.
put. Huh.
Yeah, so I think that's why it's very early for Music Tech India. Music Tech Germany is the oldest one, and that's only 8 years old. So it's very early. We're still trying to educate the market. We're still trying to convince founders. We have to go to founders and say, bro, we are here to help you. Please join us. Like at least be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But it's the same situation. Like unless people feel like, what am I going to get from this? There is no real incentive to engage. So it's a slow process, but we're
But
just trying to get people.
okay, so help me understand. We have all the brilliant tech minds in our country for sure. We have, founders with their own sort of innovation contribution to an idea that you may give to them. And, in the full life cycle of a song, from creation to release to then monetizing it to the royalty flows, managing that at the end, all of that, in all this entire like life cycle, there are so many points where tech is required or better tech is required, right? So are you I know you do monthly workshops. Are you then talking to these people and saying, okay, maybe someone says I want to get into royalty management or something of that sort and build tech around that? Are you then sitting and doing the educating to them on that vertical, or there's no sort of education imparting that's happening right now?
It's not a structured program. I think if that's the question, like, we're not
Your
helping
workshops,
people
yeah.
understand. Yeah,
Okay.
it's we get a sense of what our community is looking for. Sometimes it's just stuff that we're interested in. So one of the conversations was like, what is the role of AI in music education, which a couple of people from the community um, decided to say that, hey, we want to talk about this. Can we talk about this with your community? We said, yeah, for sure. Then another conversation was when Mansoor, who is the founder of a co-founder of a company called Beethoven, presented his pitch deck to the rest of the founders in the community because he's gone and raised funding. So he said, this is how I pitched, my company and then raised funding. So that topic was how to raise funding for music tech.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so it really depends on what people are interested in. We've had people from within the community saying that, hey, I want to talk about a certain topic. Amazing. That's great. We did one conversation on direct to fan, which is a growing interest area. I think that
Yeah.
ties in with marketing as well. You grow your own communities and then you nurture those communities and you have your core fan base that you either speak directly to, share, exclusive content with behind the scenes. And you can either do that in a Patreon style where, you have a
Mm.
paywalled
Mm.
part of the internet, which is, some exclusive access.
Yeah.
Or you can, drop your songs early or whatever it is. Like it's either a commercial understanding between you and a fan base, or it's a little bit of an effort understanding where people
Mm.
say that we'll, spend an extra 5 minutes and we'll get rewarded for that.
Okay.
So direct to fan is one of the spaces where we had someone called Meghna Kalat who used to work at JioSaavn.
Yeah.
Now so she's now in the Netherlands. She
He's
worked
a
at Open Stage in the UK. So she gave us a really good overview of what direct to fan was like
Yeah.
from her point of view,
Yeah.
where she was talking about working on campaigns for people like Lana Del Rey. Then
Mm.
we had a community member called Clubs FM.
Mm.
Who presented their product. So it was like, okay, we've got now a homegrown direct to fan platform presenting their product to the community. And I really love these guys. I mean, the way
That's
that
so
they're building.
useful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's such useful stuff. I think even
Yeah.
Anmol can use that kind of stuff in his work, you know?
Yeah. I mean, what I loved was I
Mm.
spoke to a handful of managers and they were like, a lot of them were like, yeah, we're working with these guys already. So they're
Mm.
already, started making inroads. And one of my favorite things was a friend called Vishruti, who is, a music supervisor and now runs a live production company, festival company called Linear, actually used Club's technology as her ticketing and, fan management solution. So that worked out quite well. And she said that, they worked very well together. They built some products for each other. They worked together. And that's such a good story. It's like a Indian festival company working with an Indian direct-to-fan company.
Mm.
And, I was in Bangalore and it was amazing.
So, tell me, Anmol, in your work, is there any space in that life cycle of developing and marketing a song and an artist? Any pain points that you can think of where you wish there was better tech? Maybe, people connected to Aniket can take something away.
I think marketing में तो like every step of the way we are so manual right now.
Yeah.
It's like we're still in the dark ages when it comes to music marketing. So
Okay. So
uh,
creating those assets,
a lot of stuff like just analytics also, uh,
Mm.
analytics reporting, uh, reach outs to influencers pages, benchmarking how much we should pay them, uh, tracking the campaign, comparing two campaigns.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
there's so much stuff that I can't. I go a lot with gut, and we've been successful. But like I think we could be much better if I knew कि 16th को मेरी ये 4 रीलें गई और 16th को मेरे को Spotify पे spike आया. So
Okay.
I don't have visibility over that unless I click the reel, I see वो कब गई, or put someone manually कि भाई put views in this, put likes in this, put date posted in this.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the views came in on the 4th day of that reel, right? Maybe the reel went viral on its 4th day.
Yeah.
It's impossible to analyze that, but I think with tech it's possible.
Yeah.
And I think there is a lack of product here because I don't know if a lot of people are looking at it. Like a lot of the best minds are looking at it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like music marketing, we are we are very manual. Like right now,
Mm.
very manual, and I think it can be the workflows can be improved. And I think as a music marketer, your job should be to come up with ideas of how to market the song. And I think almost everything else should be
Automated.
automated. I don't know
Yeah.
if it can be, but it should be because everything else is very manual.
So campaign
Let
analysis
me,
tool is very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
have you tried using any tools?
No, I know a friend who's into tech and I got him to create something for me very quickly. But it was very like clunky for me to be able to, use it. So I, I don't think I have used any tools. I've used some tools to, maybe get like average reach, इस page की average reach कितनी है या इस page पे average views कितने आते हैं.
Mm.
That was also just to show to clients. I don't really
Hmm.
rely on that data or use that data. So we haven't really used anything.
Have you
Okay.
tried looking for anything? I'll tell you where I'm going with this line of questioning also.
No, I have tried looking for something, but I've never found something.
Got it. So, even at All About Music this year, a bunch of people came up to me and said that, hey, we've got this idea and we want to test out this idea. What do you think about this idea for a startup or whatever it is. And someone suggested this book to me called The Mom Test, which my only response to all of these people was go and read this book, because it tells you ki, a lot of founders try to look for validation in an idea when they say that, hey, would you try this out? Would you use this? So I can come to you, Anmol, and say that, bro, I've got a tool that, tracks all your posts. And would you use it? I have an idea for a tool that would use it. You'll tell me, yeah, I'll use it. I'll go and make something. I'll come to you and I'll be like, okay, it's going to cost you $4.99 a month to use this tool. And you're like, actually, bro, I'll just go with my gut. It's worked so far,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So
Mm.
with founders, it's always good to figure out what is the size of the problem,
Mm.
what is the value of that problem. Like, if people are actually looking for solutions and they haven't found anything, are they trying to piece things together to make something work for them? Have they tried something that is not working and looking for a better way, as opposed to I'm looking for something to solve my problems? Like, I can think of 10, 15 different problems that I have right now that startups can solve, but if they come to me with a product, am I willing to pay for it? Have I even tried to solve this problem in the past? A lot of those answers may or may not be no. And then that becomes a rabbit hole which founders shouldn't go down,
Right.
because an idea is not enough.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And I think a product like this does not, like the stuff that I'm talking about, it does not exist because the market is not big enough for them to be able to make money out of it. As far
Correct.
as
Or like you have companies like Chartmetric and Song Stats and
huh.
Sound Charts and all. But again, we're talking about international companies. Chartmetric still sells a monthly subscription in India for $160 a month per seat. Who's going
Yeah.
to be able to afford that?
Yeah. Yeah, we used it. We used the 1 week free thing when we did our thesis.
Exactly.
After
That
1 week,
is hard.
cancel. Yes. But okay, so in my opinion, I think metadata and that kind of management backend with songs is very important for the Indian markets. Also, because I worked on a metadata standardization project with Atul, and it's currently sitting with the BIS. And if that gets rolled out, I think every platform, every radio network, every TV channel, everyone who plays music will have to then adopt that. It's a huge task to go into the backend catalogs and start standardizing all the songs ka backend data. I think that's huge, and it also impacts the artist very directly because सब song credits, फिर आपकी royalties, वो सब फिर finally आपके bank account में आपको दिखेगा, when everything is properly categorized and ordered. So I think
Yeah.
that's a space, an idea that I can think of.
Yeah, but again, with a lot of these problems, we think that they're technology problems, but actually they're just people problems. When we say standardization of metadata,
Mm.
the rate at which it gets implemented with different companies, you have
Yeah.
to convince each person ki metadata is important. You have to fill this properly. You have to do this properly. Every distributor is going to have their own way of implementing. Every DSP is going to have their own way of implementing.
Yeah.
Unless you're saying that, this is now law and regulation, and this is metadata works the same way, payments work, where these are the exact formats of
No, so there's a
information.
central database that is designed for India. I mean, of course, it's applicable all over the world because music is global, but it's designed and that's your central database. And when you're ingesting any song, it gets ingested from that database into every platform. So the metadata is kind of, everyone adopts the use of that tech.
That's the point, right? Like, even at the lowest level, let's say, 14, 15-year-old is using FL Studio for the first time, or has no idea about anything. Someone has gone on YouTube, found a beat, downloaded the beat, recorded something using their phone recorder, and says, now I want to upload this onto Spotify. Who's going to tell them about metadata? Unless you have the systems, that there is no way for them to upload that song unless all the metadata is in check, unless the first point of upload is checking for infringement claims, for the difference between recording and publishing, where that person knows what to upload. You can't blame a 16-year-old for not knowing the difference between publishing and an ISRC code. Like, that's no one's fault.
And also he can release it on YouTube anytime, right?
Exactly.
At
So the
least
system,
DSPs pe there's a distributor, yeah.
exactly. So the system doesn't really support that level of fragmentation. We can say that, there are some processes and laws in place, but realistically, to enforce all of that has to come from the tech platforms.
Okay. So what's your advice for a technologist who has an idea? Where should they begin with the music industry in India specifically?
Okay, before that, I would say that um, the music tech market
Yeah.
is limited by the music industry itself because effectively tools and products are servicing the creation, production, distribution, monetization, and experience of music. You can have a company that helps you make songs using AI. You
Yeah.
can have a company that helps you market your music. You can have a company that is creating visuals for your live show. And all of these things might be using technology in, wonderful ways, and we can call it a startup. But at the end of the day, it's tied to the music industry. We're still talking about consumption on traditional platforms. We're still talking about people buying tickets to shows. So it's not an isolated thing, right? We're talking about music tech as a part of music and entertainment.
Right.
And realistically, the music industry in India is tiny when compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
The recorded music industry in India is about 3,000 crores. And there's a lot of problems to solve for the industry and for the industry itself to grow, for there to be an attractive and viable music tech market. The difference is when you build startups in India, you can build for the rest of the world as well,
Yeah.
right? Your product that you build in Bombay or Chennai or Delhi or even any other city in the country can have customers all over the world, the same way a song can have an audience all over the world. So you're not limited to the Indian market, but you're limited to the use case. Again, the Indian industry is different to the rest of the world. You have a lot more capital flowing in Western countries, which makes it harder to compete with. I think, Sam Altman spoke about why it's going to be difficult for India to come up with a foundational model, not because of lack of talent, but because of the capital investment required to build companies at that scale. So what I would say is figure out the market, figure out what problem people are solving,
Yeah.
and test it in real life. I think, you know, just listen to whatever Anmol said earlier about music marketing and apply it to, startups and they'll be fine. Because if the product is good
Yeah.
and there is an audience for it, there's no reason why it wouldn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. I agree. There's so many starting points in this conversation so
Yeah.
far. Okay, so let's then go to some bigger picture topics that I would love to get both of your inputs on in the Indian music industry right now, in your personal experience so far. Do you feel there's a culture gap overall, like a culture problem? I don't want to use the word problem, but some kind of cultural change that you would like to see. That smile says a lot.
Cultural in what sense? Are we talking about people who work in the industry or what?
Anything. I'm
I
leaving
think
it open.
I have one thing.
Hmm.
So uh, I think a lot of the talent that comes out of, say, colleges and maybe who are working at agencies, they don't really look at the music industry. So maybe हमारा थोड़ा self publicity कम है. Like हमें, we should be able to attract better talent from other industries. So because I've worked outside of the music industry also, and I have a lot of friends who work in agencies who are very creative, like they're copywriters or like campaign, they run campaigns and whatever for brands and stuff. They don't really look at the Indian music industry as a place to work or as an industry to work at. I don't think it's there in their ambit. Maybe when they're looking for a job switch from an agency to another company, they don't even look at the music industry
Music. Oh.
unless they're very passionate about music and maybe they have given thought to the fact कि हम music में भी काम कर सकते हैं.
Hmm.
I think there can be a lot more uh, talented people who can join the industry, and like the industry can be more attractive to talent from other industries, basically, if that makes sense. I know people who've joined from, say, a very reputed creative agency and done really well in this industry.
Okay.
uh, so but there are very few like that. So I would say like the talent acquisition from like colleges and other industries can
Other
be better.
creative industries
Yeah,
even
like I
can.
stumbled upon the industry because I had passion for hip hop music, and then I used to create content around hip hop, so I stumbled
Right.
upon it. But मेरे जैसे और बहुत होंगे जिनको who would thrive here,
Hmm.
but they're not really.
They don't know how to make the
there is
inroads.
education like for it, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's some like you would know what a marketing agency does, and you can go and straight up start do a plug and play there and start working. But यहाँ पे थोड़ा it works a little differently. So maybe some base level education
Yeah.
on industry level, and then just making it more attractive for talented people to come here and work.
Also, because to that point, I feel the hiring culture is also, um, and when I spoke to someone in HR, they were saying that, there's no metric. Like in the tech field, we have, okay, you have a CFA or you have a SAP certification. There's no certification per se.
Yeah.
Even if there was a music business or a music degree that you could come to the table with, the only metric that HR has when they're hiring is number of years in the industry, number of years in A&R, which again is like, but I can't get those years until you take a chance on me. So it's a very vicious circle, That's why I think this
Yeah,
problem is.
I mean, maybe the industry can come up with something like a industry as a whole can come up with like a base.
Everyone doesn't have Chaitanya taking a chance on them, you know.
No, no. What I'm saying is ki like the industry can come up with a base like syllabus or whatever, like that anybody who wants to join the industry can go through and have like a self certification thing.
There are some on Coursera and other platforms, Udemy. There are some of those.
Maybe like an industry certified where all like a lot of companies come together and
And build
they
one.
and they also say ki whoever like does this whatever it'll be like certification course whatever, there will be like they will be down to hire them as well. So
Yeah, I
build
think
like
paid internships is also a good starting point because in India, internships, I don't know how many are paid. Are they
I
now?
got paid. I
Culture.
mean, I didn't have an internship at Gully Gang. It was a role, but it was kind
Okay.
of like an internship only.
Okay. But that's
Uh,
how a lot of college kids start, na? They start with internships.
yeah,
So, I don't know companies, music companies कर रही हैं या नहीं. I think they should broaden that.
Gully Gang to कर रहा है. Like I know,
Okay.
I got hired like that. Aditya,
Okay.
who's my co-founder now at Mashooriya, he was an intern at Gully Gang, and
Okay.
they've also done a very good like a nice hiring drive recently where they opened internships for creatives, so like designers and editors, and like
Nice.
some of them converted full-time offers. So
Okay.
um, I don't know how majors work, but like I know like Gully Gang is something I know, and they've been able to bring up talent from other industries. मैं भी दूसरी industry से ही आया था. Aditya, who's my co-founder now, he was a lawyer. Like he was a law graduate, and he had a very nice job at like a good law firm. But I think Gigi were able to, I think for that, like that recognition of talent and then giving them an opportunity, I think Gully Gang and Chaitanya they've been successful with it. They've been
Nice. I like that.
identifying talent. Yeah.
Like I moved from aerospace to radio, and the first thing my first manager asked me in my interview, he's like, why do you want to work in radio? You've done rock. And I was like, I love music, just take a chance on me. And he
Yeah,
loved that. He was like, okay, come, let's do it.
yeah.
You need that one sort of thing, but you can't base your whole career on meeting that one person who'll do that for you. Yeah. So okay, that's a good thing to point out. Aniket?
A few things. I think like I don't want to generalize, but the opposite is also true where a lot of people working in the music industry feel very self-important about the role that they're doing. And a lot of people in the music industry are mainly project managers and service providers. And I'm not counting myself out of this. Many campaigns require, people to project manage
That
and
had,
not
yeah.
enough, yeah, not enough creative input. So the thing of working in the music industry and helping artists grow and be the most that they can be is not the job of a project manager. You need a creative person, and you need a person who's got a strong opinion and a good sense of the world as it is. That's where a lot of people, myself included in the early years, came to terms with, where you feel the world should be a certain way and you don't
No,
see that
that
the world
is,
is a certain way.
yeah.
So unless you start from that starting point and then work towards, some change you want to affect in the world, or
Yeah.
for your voice to be heard,
Yeah.
you need to have some credibility. So
Yeah.
I think that starting point is very important from a
Mm.
cultural perspective. I think some of us, myself, got very lucky with working with some amazing people early on. So you learn how things are and how things should be at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
Because you have a protective environment where even if things go wrong because your estimation wasn't right, you're still protected. And you like, okay, you learn from that and you move on. But that's not necessarily true for the wider industry. I think I'll take a stock market ka example and, index funds ka example where we have, let's say, the Nifty stock market index in India, and you have people who are actively trading stocks as well. And all over the world, it's fairly well accepted कि if you just invest in the stock market, then you're likely to do better than people who are actively trading. There's only a small amount of people who will be able to beat the market.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very true for the music industry as well. If you take every, non-artist out of the industry will be the same, in my opinion. People will continue to put out music and it will reach those audiences. Of course, we do add value and add services and all of those things. But net, I don't think it makes that much of a difference, to be very honest. The same way, we might be trading some stocks in the active market, the same way we're backing some artists and helping them grow. But if everyone was left to their own devices, I don't think that it would make too much of a difference, is my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. Back in the day also, music was released, people consumed it. And
Yeah, who was
so,
Beethoven's manager? I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, the world still kept rotating. I agree. True.
Yeah, so I think there's like a middle ground between mine and Anmol's response because it
Yeah.
was kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. But the culture and mindset are for sure. I mean,
There are
like he
too
said,
many generalists versus specialists. Is that what you're trying to also highlight?
could be. Yeah, that's one aspect.
Okay. We need more specialists so that there's
Yeah,
fewer.
and there's a lot of people concerned with the short term. I think that's one of the problems. Not enough people working with a long-term mindset.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Let's talk about the hip hop space because you both have worked extensively in it. I would love your opinions on this. Do you think, and also because you work so closely with Says, Aniket, I have felt this, and I know a lot of people, artists tell me this. Producers are not getting enough credit in our scene right now. Is that an uphill battle? And even when you're marketing a song, are we not marketing the producer's name as much? There are very few producers who stand out, with their tags in the title and all of that. So your thoughts on this?
I don't think it's fair for me to share thoughts. I mean, I've not worked with Says for the last again year and a half since I've made the transition. So I worked with the movement while I was at Outdustry between 2020, which is when they started, to about 2023 when they fully moved over to mass appeal with a lot of the releases and all. And I mean, I was working with Says like.
No, but your general point of view on this, like, because producers are the backbone of the music, right? End of the day.
100%. But again, Says is not other producers. So I was very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't have to do much because as soon as you say Says on the Beat Boy, people know what's happening.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky to have worked with him. I mean, we did so many amazing projects together. And because of that, we got to work with, the artists who may not receive enough recognition where they should have been getting that limelight, like people who are releasing for the first time, like Ab Satra when he was putting out his EP, or even people like Youngie when he was putting out Mean, which is such an amazing album, or when we were putting out albums like Chandpar, which was more of a compilation. I mean, I just got to have fun with it, to be honest. I think Anmol will have more input on the producer's point.
My point is that it's like it is an uphill battle and it is not fair, but it is the truth. क्योंकि जब एक track बनता है, like just with hip hop, the producer is like an equal or a bigger part of the track, right? He's doing a lot of stuff. He's a composer on it. He's a songwriter on it. Everything. But at the end of the day, जब वीडियो बन रहा है, तो उसमें जो फेस रहेगा वो रैपर का रहेगा और स्टोरी सुनाई जा रही है एक गाने में, वो रैपर की स्टोरी होती है mostly, right?
Yeah.
And this is a battle that I don't think producers can win. Like
because they're still the silent contributor.
Yeah. Unless you start rapping yourself. Like Kanye West was always a great producer. But he got his due when he stood in front of the camera. He went in front of the mic and started rapping, and he became an artist where he was also a vocalist. So I 1,000% agree that producers are an equal, if not a bigger part of at least a hip hop song.
Yeah.
And a lot of producers like Says are also shaping artists, right? He's working
Yes.
with
Yeah.
artists
He
who are
shaped the
maybe,
scene also. Yeah.
yeah, he's like done, like Mere Gali Mein was Says, Classic
Yeah.
Mod was Says, so many iconic like songs that brought people back to hip hop. It
Yeah.
was all like a producer, right?
Yeah.
And so many, so that is there, but like maybe they will get their due within the industry for sure. Like
Yeah.
industry उनको हमेशा
Yes.
acknowledge करेंगे, they will get paid, right? If
Yes.
they will get paid for sure, they will get their dues, they will get their splits, everything. But एक audience facing entity जो है वो mostly एक रैपर ही रहेगा क्योंकि
हाँ.
उसकी स्टोरी सुनाई जा रही है. That's the only thing. So
तो
the rapper
म्यूजिक में नहीं होगा उनका sort of front face this thing, but I'm saying credits में, marketing में क्या
marketing
हम कर
it's hard, right? It's hard because I, as a marketer, I'm running with the narrative of the
of
rapper.
the
Like the
song and
producer is creating music,
okay.
but the rapper is actually saying stuff on it.
Yeah.
It's hard to put across and without sounding like ki, the situation is very bad, but it's just like the game is the game basically. कि
Okay.
यही है अभी. And artists अपनी story बता रहे, sorry, rappers अपनी story बता रहे हैं, and producers are shaping the sound, and that's just how it is. No matter what we do, rappers or vocalists will always be more popular in most cases.
Yeah.
And sometimes a producer will come along that transcends
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like a right, like a Karan Kanchan.
To the credit of the rappers, I'm seeing a lot of them making sure they credit their producer in their titles, you know, of the music
Yeah,
video and all. They're doing all of that.
Yeah. Every producer should get primary artist credits, and
Yeah.
they should have at least a beat tag or a shout out from the rapper on the song. Like
Yeah.
Karan Kanchan does not have a beat tag, but every Karan Kanchan song has a shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every Karan Kanchan एक divine song, divine will shout out Karan Kanchan
Yeah.
on the song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
वो सब है, but at the end of the day, the song is actually divine story, right?
Yeah.
So he will be the one who will get more limelight, and that's just how it is. It shouldn't be like this, and the producer should get equal credit, but that is just what it is. But as an industry,
Yeah.
we should acknowledge their contributions in terms
Yes.
of paying them equally or equitably,
Yeah.
and like valuing what they do, because a lot of the technical skills that they bring onto the table, I would say, are at par with global standards. Like a
Yeah.
says is at par with like any producer globally.
Yeah.
Right? So
And also
Yeah.
back end when you guys are splitting the credits in the studio and the publishing and all the demarcations are happening in percentages, that's all happening, right?
yeah.
In a fair
That,
manner. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah. I think that's where it gets lost as well, because a producer like Anmol said is doing both. You're composing the song, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't get a share of the lyrics, even though you haven't written the lyrics. You might contribute to the lyrics.
Yeah.
So there are ways that that contribution is translated into the data. Like
Yeah.
equal splits. What does equal splits mean? Is it just equal splits on the composition, or is it equal splits on the entire publishing? And same thing goes for the master. Like, are you getting an equal share of royalties when it's being split out, or are you just getting paid as a service, saying that this you've
Hired
got
you.
a fee? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is different. And I think unless producers are playing live, performing live, then it's not about the one song, right? Like you've put out one song with an artist that does well. Okay, cool. The producer stays in a certain limelight and the artist gets a certain limelight. You do that over 100 songs, either with 5 different artists. And then we're talking not only about royalties, but also stuff like brand deals, right?
Yeah.
When an artist gets bigger limelight and rappers get more and more attention, stuff like brand deals will end up going to them. Of course, there are smart managers who will be able to get deals for producers regardless, but that
Very rare.
divide keeps
Yeah.
increasing.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why the credits are important for producers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, one more topic. Are the new batch of hip hop artists taking more risks than the OGs?
I think it's much less risky to be in hip hop right now versus when the OGs stepped into hip hop. So it's not like are you taking sonically
I'm
risks?
saying sonically.
Okay.
I'm reviewing music on the daily.
Yeah. What do you think?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I say yes, they are.
They are? Okay.
I'm not hearing much innovation or change or newness from the OGs. I feel
Oh, you're
they're
saying they're taking less risk.
yeah, they're very
Okay.
risk.
The OGs are taking less risk, you're saying?
Yeah. Right now, as I stand, I'm noticing that.
I don't
Wait,
with the
I didn't
exception of,
understand.
say, a Seedhe Moth, for example, a lot of artists are just staying in their comfort zone and not really venturing out much. I'm hearing a lot more fresher stuff from the new
Okay.
wave. That's what I mean.
So the new wave is taking more risks and the OGs are sticking to what they know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sonically,
Sonically, lyrically as well.
and thematically. Yeah.
I think it depends from artist to artist. I don't think as an audience we should expect every artist to have a huge sonical range. Like there are so many artists even globally that have the same sound for ages and it just works for them. Like Pusha T has been rapping about coke since the first song that he put out, and he still raps about coke, and it's like he's one of my favorite artists ever. So I don't want to tell Pusha T ki bhai abhi kuch aur kar. I would want him to rap about coke for the next 50 years, and I'm happy listening. So,
Okay.
um,
A lot of Reddit conversations go in the other direction about this.
yeah, but like I don't agree with this. I think जिस artist को करना है sonically experiment, जिसको जैसे कोई primarily lyrical rapper है, उसको he wants to try like an auto tune trap sound, they can go for it. But I don't think कि किसी के ऊपर भी pressure डालना चाहिए as an audience कि भाई experiment करो या फिर कुछ नया दो.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Sikandar Kalam is a little bit like that. No, I won't ever get bored of him rapping the way he does.
Yeah, like so many
Yes.
artists. Like
Yeah.
for me, I would want like whoever, like I would want Raga to do what Raga does. I would want Divine to do what Divine does. And if they give me something that's slightly different from what they usually do, I'll be happy to consume it. But I don't want कि भाई नहीं अब मेरे को कुछ soft गाना चाहिए रागा से. ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है.
हाँ,
Like,
नहीं, जरूरी
I
नहीं है.
want to, like if he makes गलत करम 100 times, I'm going to listen to it 100 times. I don't really like. I don't मेरे को variations दो. There are so many other artists that I can listen to, right? If I would
Sure.
want to, if I'm heartbroken, I can go and listen to Anup Jain. I don't want Raga to like talk about heartbreak कि भाई मेरे को रागा से ही चाहिए. If he does
But
that,
that's the point. That's the point, right? If you want to hear something different, then does that mean your attention goes away from that particular artist? Then they don't grab your attention, and then you're like, okay, I've heard this before. I don't want to come back to this because there's nothing new here. Is there a risk of that in this kind of attention economy where like you come back to an artist profile after 3 years and you feel like nothing has changed from the last time you've been there?
Because a lot of
It's very
audiences
different.
falling off saying, अब हो गया ये theme, I'm not in that life phase anymore, I'm moving on.
I think ये काफी nuanced discussion है. जैसे I keep
हाँ.
going
Yeah.
back to Pusha T, right? Like he just put out a new album, and like I still go and listen to it. While sonically थोड़े बहुत changes है, but thematically तो वो same ही बात कर रहा है, with the exception of one or two songs. Whenever I want that vibe, I know who to go to, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's very nuanced. Like
It's very nuanced.
it is very nuanced. Like
It
how
is the marketing, bro. It's the marketing. When you're this thing that you said now, when I want that vibe, I know who to go to.
yeah.
That's pure marketing. When you say
Yeah.
that I want this vibe, you still have 10 options to go to. And then you are also thinking ki, acha, now there's so much conversation since that album came out, ki this is the album of the year, 56-year-old rapper is the best rapper of the year, this, that, 56, I don't know how old he is.
I don't
But
think that old, but I don't.
I don't know, whatever. Someone said 50 something.
I just really like the album.
Whatever it is. But I mean, that is a marketing thing, right? When you're saying album of the year and then it sticks in your head.
So I think
it is marketing, but like I organically think that it's one of the best projects. I don't know album of the year वगैरह, but like I think it's like genuinely I feel it's one of the best projects that was put out. And
also because you're a super fan. So when someone comes back to an artist after consuming them for a long time, you are already in super fan space. So you will come back to them for that and for the emotional attachment to that artist. You're not necessarily coming back to them because, your sonic palette has diversified and you are consuming a lot more of other stuff.
yeah, that's true. But I think this discussion is too nuanced and like there are so many moving parts कि इसमें कुछ भी accurately बोलना is very hard.
Yeah,
That's true.
he's 48. That was inaccurate for sure.
But if Pusha T moves away from what he does, I don't know if I like it. So for him, as a fan, I don't want him to experiment too much. I want him to stay there where he is, right? And that's just him as acting as a proxy for anyone's favorite artist, right? So
or proxy for something that they do, like even with Indian content creators, a lot of people when they make cover music online and then they put out their original music, regardless of the quality of the music, in many cases the original music is very good, but audiences don't necessarily translate because they're used to seeing covers on this page or profile.
Right. Yeah.
There are some exceptions, as with everything.
Yeah, it is
like Anumeta.
Right. Just taking Divine's example, he did 359 AM, which was in his zone, and it became a huge hit. But in the same album, he had Mirchi also, which again was a huge hit. And like those two are thematically, sonically, everything is so far apart from each other, right?
Yeah.
But दोनों के audiences काफी अलग थे because of
हाँ,
the
अलग थे, तो he experimented, or maybe he tried a new sound or whatever, but he was successful in doing both.
in both.
Some
Okay.
artists stick to a lane and they are successful in doing that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a ये एक बस मेरे को ये लगता है कि this shouldn't be a benchmark to judge someone, judge
Yeah,
anyone.
true. Or at the end of the day, it's the artist's decision where they want to take their artistry. Yeah. And also because we were talking about producers and now beats and sort of regional identity getting mixed with the purity of the art form. The next phase of the Indian music landscape is our artists going global. And I think that's going to happen within the next 5 years for sure. We'll have that big after Hanuman kind. There'll be the other sort of Indian sonically led global artists. Are we sort of when we're trying to push our artists globally, let me see how I can phrase this. There are two things that can happen. Either our production improves and we have more globally palatable sonics, or we play to our strength and put more Indian sonics in our songs and then market those in a certain way. What do you think is a better approach?
I think it can be either. If you look at the recent success of Big Dogs, I think it sounds global.
Yeah.
He's rapping in English, but the visuals are very Indian, right? Like what he's showing is very Indian. So it can be like it can be completely like a Western inspired thing. It can have elements of Indian instrumentals within the beat. It might even have an Indian language. I don't think there's and any of these things can go up. Like I think we have the quality, the talent to be able to, like Big Dogs as a song is like fully Western inspired, right? Apart from the visuals, the beat, and he's rapping in a foreign language, right? So if that can go big, Punjabi music can go big with like a with either a hip hop like West inspired beat or maybe even an Indian instrumental like a bhangra beats. Bhangra songs did go global before.
Yeah.
So वो तो पूरा language was also Punjabi and the sonics were also Punjabi, but it went global. So
yeah, it did. It's sometimes I
any
feel
stuff like that can happen. Like it can be any mix of
Yeah,
either of the things
I
that
like
you
to think about it like cuisines. I think there's a little bit of a lag.
there is, yeah.
Um,
It's just fixing itself. Yeah. Can you see me?
Yeah, I think now we're caught up.
Okay.
I like to think about it in terms of cuisines. Like when you say take Indian food to the world, it's not one homogeneous thing. Like Indian music cannot be one homogeneous product that can be taken worldwide. We've spoken of so many different styles in the last 30 seconds itself. So taking one song or one artist is like taking a bowl of dal and saying, do you like this? Do you want to listen to all of Indian music? So in my view, I think it's like anything that can work, constantly taking out stuff in different styles, constantly presenting what we have to our own audiences and to the rest of the world. And eventually people will put all of these experiences together and tastes and flavors and understanding together and be like, fuck yes, like Indian music is now
All of
like I
it.
want to check out the new things that come out of. Yeah. So it can't be one thing. We've got different melody lines, we've got different percussions, we've got different rhythmic structures, we've got languages, got so many different things. I don't think we can present it as like a homogeneous product to the world. And we've tried that, right? With like collaborations, and we tried manufacturing things which just don't work.
Yeah.
And stuff that you didn't think was going to work blows up because someone somewhere spoke about it.
I'm glad you brought up collaborations because one of my last questions is around this. It is a very low-hanging fruit tool that I feel a lot of majors have used and even artists have independently used, where they collaborate with a foreign producer or artist. And it's becoming more common now because the Indian market is important to a lot of these foreign artists. But is that a smart move or it's cloud play? And have you guys seen any? I can't think of any like song where that worked as a strategy. So what are your thoughts on this?
As in like a collaborative song between an Indian and a foreign artist?
Like Bacha collab with the Balvin. We had I think Ojla's Gangster was probably a good this thing because it worked for at least Desi audiences. I don't think it worked for audiences outside.
I think even this Diljit and Tory Lanez track was it worked out for Indian audiences. I don't know about the West.
Because those artists already have a big audience here. But and Sapphire again is a bit of a separate case study because both artists are equally very big, and it's a very easy to consume song even for a non English speaker or Hindi Punjabi speaker. But generally I feel like that's the way people go, and a lot of conversations and audiences say ki ab ye kaise kaam karega. Like I get a lot of comments when I'm reviewing songs like that ki हमारे लिए भी काम नहीं हुआ और उनकी ऑडियंस के लिए भी नहीं चला because
I think when it's a bit too manufactured, then people are able to tell, and then it
falls flat.
Yeah.
But most labels are relying on that as a tool.
I think attempts तो लेने ही पड़ेंगे, ऐसे ही attempts लेने पड़ेंगे, and something will work out. Like it's like a bridge being built, and every brick is important. Like चाहे वो even if it doesn't work out for both the audiences, it's like at least getting the name out there. Like उनके artist के profile पे हमारे artist का नाम दिखेगा, हमारे artist profile पे उनके artist का नाम दिखेगा. At least it is like 5 years ago when it happened, it was like, whoa, ये क्या हो रहा है, ये कैसे हो गया?
Yeah. Now it's commonplace, but it has to be done smartly.
Now it's not crazy to see.
Yeah, sorry, there's a lag. Huh. Are you guys back?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Has to be done well, not smartly.
I think it has to be done well, but हर बार well करना भी tough होता है. So, and sometimes it's done well and it doesn't work. Like sometimes it's just done well, maybe the timing is wrong, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the only constant that needs to be there is this needs to keep happening. So like even if the labels are looking at it as like a cash grab or like a way to get more revenue in, I think these are very important steps. Even if the song does not, if the song works out, I think that's how things get normalized. Like AP Dillon had Gunna in his project, and I really like that song. So I think, and Gunna is a superstar there, and AP Dillon is a superstar here and there.
But him and Stormzy didn't work for me at all.
Yeah.
The Stormzy one didn't work for me, but the one with Era Star worked. Yeah, I guess. So yeah, very big. But for the conversation for Krishna and H's song, even the audiences were like, it didn't work. And I made a point in my discussion with Rohan also, ki maybe for this one song on the project, Krishna could have just done an English verse because he's equally good in English. And that way he could have captured at least a broader UK audience if the full song was in English. So that's where I was coming from. Ki
that's probably your A&R call.
Okay. So, theek hai. I guess these things have to keep happening and then they'll play out as they're meant to play out. Before we end, I would love to know what are you currently listening to? Both of you. What's your current jam?
I can tell you a few artists. I'll just see ki kya chal raha hai. So I'm listening to a lot of this Punjabi superstar, Cheema Bhai. I'm listening to a lot of his music.
Okay,
I really
nice.
like his writing. Nawan Sandhu also, again, a Punjabi artist, pretty big. He dropped an album. I'm listening to that.
Okay.
I'm listening to Afkap's new project,
Parat 3?
Parat 2. Parat 2 abhi आई है, Parat 3 पहले आई थी. Parat 2 is something I'm listening to a lot. I'm listening to Siege a lot, The Siege.
Nice.
I'm listening to Gurinder Gill's new project. Karan Aujla, obviously. There's this artist, Safar.
Yes, I just covered him.
Yeah, so I worked on his track Chandni and his new track Burger.
It's on my list.
Yeah,
yes, I just covered Burger. I've got Chandni on my list. Okay.
I think Burger, Arpit Bala did really well.
Yeah.
Safar is really great. So that one.
I was pronouncing it Sufar.
Yeah, I think it's Safar.
Yeah, Sufar hai na? Sifar. Sorry, Sifar is 0. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, these are the people I'm listening to.
Very nice. Okay, I have a lot of those artists on my list. Aniket, you?
I'm actually going back to a lot of my old stuff at the moment. I'm not listening to much new stuff. A bunch of playlists that I've put together. I was looking at my Spotify. I was listening to, Dave's projects couple. There's this new artist called Ansh Mehta, who another artist, Anika, shared his work with me. He's put out only 2 singles so far.
Okay.
It sounded so exciting. I loved the couple of tracks that he put out. One is called Passing Lanes. That's one that I really liked.
Okay.
And yeah, mostly old stuff. Like I'm listening to people like Gogo Penguin and Snarky Puppy and all right now. I think I'm just in a little bit of a mellow mood these days.
Oh, nice. I'm going to suggest City Sessions Volume 2
Okay.
from Tiger Baby Records. I've just reviewed it and you must check it out if that's the mood you're in.
Okay.
I think you'll really enjoy. Okay, and just as a parting thought from both of you, what in your view separates an artist from one who makes it and one who doesn't? Give me one phrase answer.
I think the primary thing is luck.
I was thinking that. I was going to say that, but probably that's a bit reductive. Mm, who makes it and who doesn't at this point? Let's call it luck.
It is luck.
That's
I know
so
it's a huge,
unfair. Hard work trumps talent. I thought you guys would say hard work.
We're
I mean,
assuming that both artists are working hard.
keeping everything constant. I think luck is a big
Damn.
part.
Damn, son. How are people going to come into
And
this?
it outweighs. You can be like there can be other stuff like does the artist put effort in understanding marketing and stuff, but like
Yeah.
luck trumps everything.
Okay. Damn. On that note, thank you guys. I can go on. We have so many things we can talk
Yeah.
about, but we should cap it here. And I will, the door is always open. I'll call you guys back for another session on different verticals. But thank you so much for taking the time
Thank you.
and
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you.
Super fun. I hope the audience takes away some key learnings from this, and musicians, future executives, everyone, all the music fans. Hope we helped demystify the space a little for you today. So thank you. See you guys in the next one.
Thank you.
Thank
Long
you.
and prosper.